everybody. I am live. Woohoo! Live. I am hoping that you all will be joining me shortly. So I'm going to get started. And so, hello, everyone. Welcome to my SheVisionary Webinar. I'm your host, Candace B. Woods, and I am your mindset architect. And this is an incredible evening for me because I am actually starting out as a solopreneur, and this is my first webinar as a solopreneur. So this is incredibly exciting, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you have decided to join me on tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. But before I get started, I just want to give you a little bit of information and kind of give you some things to think about before we get started. Okay. And so this is a live webinar. And so being that it is a live webinar and you are tuning in, I am going to just be me. Okay. And so again, this is my first time using Google Hangouts. And so hopefully this will go well. And hopefully we won't have any type of glitches or anything like that. But if we do, that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to have another live webinar on tomorrow night, and I'm going to keep at it until I get it right, okay? So hopefully we won't have any glitches or anything like that. And so I'm going to share a lot of information with you on tonight. And so I want you to take some time out. Go ahead, shut your door, turn off your cell phones, and just be tuned in to what I'm going to share with you on tonight, because I truly believe that I have been called to this season and this time in my life to be able to help others to elevate from being a dreamer to a visionary. And so tonight I'm going to be sharing with you 5 transforming tools that I personally use to shift from dreamer to visionary. And again, this is incredibly exciting for me. And so I want you guys to tune in. I want you guys to really be present and to listen in very carefully. Okay. And so with that stated, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to share with you my screen. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this pretty well. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, as I stated before, I'm going to share with you 5 tools that I use to transform from dreamer to visionary. And these 5 tools are extremely resourceful, hopefully, to you, because they were to me. And I'm incredibly excited about this opportunity. I have a live chat at the bottom, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to use the chat at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type in questions. And if you're on, go ahead and say hello, chat with me, say hi, let me know that you're on. And I'll try to make sure that I stay focused and try to answer your questions as they come aboard. And so let's go ahead and get started, okay? And so again, this is the SheVisionary Webinar, and I'm going to share with you 5 tools to transform you from a dreamer to a visionary, all right? And so what essentially is a visionary? What is a visionary? Well, a visionary is a person or plans their future with imagination or wisdom. Okay, or a person who with original ideas about what the future will or could be like. Okay, so again, a visionary is a person who thinks about or plans their future with imagination or wisdom, right? And so I think that many of us have an imagination, and many of us are truly in a position where we are thinking about our futures or thinking about the plans that we have. And that's great. But the part that I really want to hone in on as far as a visionary is the part about wisdom. Because if you're going to be a visionary, then you really have to have wisdom to be successful, right? You have to be wise, and you have to have gained a good bit of knowledge about how you're going to get to your destination. And so that is essentially what is the difference between a dreamer and a visionary. Okay. And so as a visionary, we really have to begin to see the future before we see the manifestation of the future. And it's really something that you have to envision within yourself. But then there's the dreamer. And a dreamer is a person who dreams or is dreaming, or a person who is unpractical or idealistic. And so when we dream, we have these thoughts and ideas that we have in our mind and sometimes in our hearts that we really could see ourselves doing, or could imagine that we would do perhaps. But a lot of times if they're unpractical, which means that we really don't have a plan. We really don't have a full-on plan on how we would bring our dream into full manifestation. And so for me, I'm a dreamer. But recently I had the opportunity to shift from dreamer to visionary, right? And so again, the way I was able to shift from dreamer to visionary, it took a plan. And so I don't want you to get me wrong on this, though. I don't want you guys to think that there's anything wrong with being a dreamer, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a dreamer. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I don't want you to stay there. And if you're going to shift from just being idealistic and having thoughts and ideals in your head and in your heart, if you're going to shift from full manifestation, there has to be a process and there has to be a plan in between. And I am going to share with you that plan on tonight. And so again, as I stated before, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a dreamer. As a matter of fact, there was an amazing woman by the name of Harriet Tubman who says that every great dream begins with a dreamer. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. So once again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with dreaming. As a matter of fact, before you can get to the vision, before you can get to manifestation of what it is that you have a desire to do and be, you have to first start with a dream. And so, as she stated, always remember you have within you the strength, you have the patience, and you have the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. So you have everything that you need to begin to bring that dream to full manifestation. You already have it. Every last one of us are born with it, right? And you can potentially, just you with your dream, with your desire that's in your heart, you could potentially change the world. You could do it. Yes, you could. But maybe some of you are saying, you know what, Candace, I really don't want to change the world. I'm not really interested in changing the world. I just really want to change my life, and I really want to make my life meaningful. And so tonight I'm going to share a little bit more information with you on how you can bring your dreams into full manifestation, and how you can shift from dreamer to visionary. All right. And so first of all, let me start by giving you a little bit information about who I am and how I got here. Right. So I am Candace B. Woods, and I am the owner of CBW Consulting. And my sole purpose in creating this vision, the vision of CBW Consulting, and being able to be a change agent, was basically to have the ability to empower women to elevate their mindset to attract meaningful and worthy relationships. And so we have some people on their end. Okay. Well, hopefully it will catch up. Hopefully it will catch up. I'm hoping that it will. Let's see. It's not spinning on my end, so I'm not sure what's going on your end. Hi, Donna. Thank you for joining me. Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for joining me. All right, so it's not spinning on my end. Let me know if you can hear me. Just comment in the chat box and let me know that you can hear me pretty well. Can you at least hear me? All right, so I'm going to keep it moving. Hopefully you guys can continue to. Hi, Barb. Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? And is everything going well on your end? Because on my end, everything appears to be well. Okay, so it may be your Wi-Fi if it's not. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I was just sharing a little bit of information about myself. Again, I'm Candace B. Woods, and I'm the owner and founder of CBW Consulting. And my sole purpose is to be a change agent. And I really and truly have a desire to help empower other women to elevate their mindset to attract worthy and meaningful relationships. And so for me, those relationships don't necessarily have to be romantic in nature. Definitely, I help women attract relationships that great. So I definitely help women attract relationships that are worthy of them. And notice I said worthy of them, because I truly believe that if you know your worth, then you won't settle for anything less than that. And so, but it's also to elevate our mindsets to attract relationships that are both personal, professional, or both. And so that is essentially what I do. And a lot of my services are wrapped around those type of relationship building. And it encourages things like healthy relationships. And I also work with women on divorce, life after divorce. And I also help women learn their purpose in life. And so I'm just truly blessed. I'm truly blessed to be in a position to be able to use my gifts where I'm planted, and to be able to help other women understand and know their worth. And so this is truly an amazing time for me, and I could not be more excited about the season that I'm in. And so how did I get here? Well, I'm going to share, be transparent for a moment and share a little bit of information about myself. and how I got here, how I actually got to this point of being a visionary. How did I get to a point where I decided that I wanted to start my own business and my own consulting firm and work with other women? Well, this gorgeous babe right here, this gorgeous babe right here was the 26-year-old Candace. And although I'm kind of jazzed up and I'm feeling pretty good about myself in the picture, and it appears that I was, you know, just on the top of the world and I was just in the prime of my life. What you don't know is what's behind the smile and what's behind that hat that you see. And really and truly, the 26-year-old woman that you see in this picture was actually thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you love the picture. But the woman that you see in this picture, even though I have this cute little smirk and I have this cute little hat and this was a professional picture, what you don't know was behind the smile was a very bruised and broken woman who had just lost everything as a result of divorce. And at the age of 23, I married my college sweetheart, and I went into marriage with the idea that I would love him and he would love me, and we would live happily ever after. Even though I knew when I married him that he wasn't the person that I should have been marrying, I did it anyway because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want to have to call all of my family and friends and tell them that I wasn't getting married. And so I entered into marriage with unrealistic expectations, and also trying to use marriage as a means to fill a void in my life that had been left as a result of abandonment by my father. And so in this picture, I actually was approached by a gentleman. I was an office manager for a eye doctor, and I was approached by him, and he asked me to do this picture. And he didn't know at that time that I truly needed this opportunity because I was broken. I didn't really fully understand my worth. As a matter of fact, because of my divorce, I felt like a failure, and I felt like I would never be able to get over my husband. I felt like I would never be able to get past the pain that I was experiencing at that time in my life. And so even though you see a young lady who, you know, appears to have a very bright future, at that time, I had no idea what that future was. And all of my dreams had been put into helping my now ex-husband fulfill his dreams. And we both had a business together. And as a result of divorce, I lost everything. I lost my husband. I lost relationships with family, with members of his family. I lost the business that I had invested a lot of my time and energy and gifts into. And I was in this picture. I don't think I was too long. I think I had just moved into an apartment. But right before that, I was living on my best friend's couch and had been doing that for about 6 months. And so this young lady, even though she has a cute little smile here, she was broken, and she had no sense of direction and no sense of purpose. And so this is why I decided that I wanted to help other women who were there, who had devoted their time and their energy and their dreams into helping others fulfill their dreams, who didn't really understand their worth and their value. And so you end up putting yourself in a position and in relationships that aren't worth your time or your energy, and you find yourself lost and you find yourself trying to please other people, and you're operating consistently on other people's definition of what success should look like for you. And so once I was blessed to find my purpose, roughly about, I would say, 6 to 8 years later, once I got to that point where I was able to find my God-given purpose, and I went through coaching, and I was taught the importance of finding your purpose, but also using your pain for purpose. And that's essentially how CBW Consultant came about. That was how I got to this point. And so once I got there and I decided, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what I believe my purpose is to help other women find their purpose and find their worth, and to begin to pursue or be pursued by those who are worthy of their time and their energy. That's how all of this came about. And it's truly been a blessing to me to be in this position and to be able to share this information with you tonight. And so I mentioned very briefly that my ex-husband and I had a business together, and that business was a daycare. And so, as I mentioned before, I'm a mindset architect. And so when preparing this particular presentation for tonight, I had to decide what I wanted to talk about and the information that I wanted to share with you. And so there was a process in the beginning where my ex-husband and I were starting our daycare. And he had purchased a church or a building that had been used as a church. And he wanted to turn that church into a daycare. And so as a result of that, he had to go and he had to hire an architect, right? And so he hired the architect, and the architect came in, and he basically shared with us a process that we would have to go through in order to make the church building into the daycare, right? So there was a process that we had to go through. And so when creating this particular presentation, I wanted to kind of go back and think about what the architect did in the process that he took us through, and how I can basically use that process to help you shift from dreamer to visionary. Just like we had to take the church, which was the dream of a daycare, but we had to take what we had and we had to create something else. But we had to see it before we saw it. We had to see it in our minds and envision what that daycare was going to look like in our minds and in our hearts before we actually saw the manifestation. And so in order to do that, the architect took us through a 5-step process. And so before I get into that process, I just want to check in with you guys. I want to make sure you guys are good. How are we feeling out there? Let me know. Just comment, chat in the chat. Are you still with me? How are things going with you guys? Are you still there with me? All right, good deal. You are still there. Hallelujah. And so, all right, thank you. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into this 5-step process. Okay. And so the 5-step process is first the assessment process. Okay. And so when we hired this architect, he came in and he had to do an assessment. He had to kind of look around. He had to check out things and make sure they were good. So he had to do an assessment process, and he had to see if this was actually a project that he could do. All right. And so then the second one is the why. And so he asked us, why are you doing this? Why are you in business? Why, what is this going to do for you? How is this going to change your life? And what do you want to do with this particular business? And so he took us through that process. The next part was the vision, and we had to go through the vision. We had to share with him what it is that we wanted to see happen with that building. We had to tell him, we had to see it before we saw it. We had to share with him what our vision was for that particular building, that structure. And then after we did all of that, he took it and he created the plan. And then we had an inspection process right after that. Great. Thank you, Barb. I appreciate it. Right. So this is the 5-step process that he took us through. And so I'm going to break it down into the 5 steps. So let's first start off with the assessment. Let's start off with the assessment part. Right. And so if I think about the assessment portion of working with the architect, I want to relate that to ourselves, as women. We really have to begin to assess where we are. We have to do a self-assessment about where we are. Okay. And so a self-assessment is essential to the process from dreamer to visionary, because you have to begin to be realistic about where you are now. And you also have to be realistic about where you want to go. But before you can get to where you want to go, you have to take a self-assessment and begin to be honest with yourself about where you are. Right? Where am I? Where am I at this particular point in my life? And where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And so self-assessment is so important. It's critical to us being able to be realistic about our dreams and our visions and where we have a desire to be. All right. So that architect came in, he walked around and he did a full-on assessment, and he had to determine whether or not this was hello. Thanks for joining in, Tanika. Hey there. All right. So this is the assessment process, right? So you have to take a self-assessment, and you have to be able to really evaluate where you are, and you have to get a clear understanding of where you want to be. Okay. And so that is the first step that the architect took us through. He walked through, he took an assessment, and he had to determine whether or not this was something that he could do, whether or not this was something that he could do, whether this project was essentially a job that he could take on, that he could be of service to us on, and really assist us in completing that project. And so after he completed the assessment portion, he basically sat us down and he asked us the why, right? He asked us why we wanted to have a daycare. Like, why do you guys want to do this business, and what is it that you plan to do? And so we explained to him that, we were young people, that there weren't a lot of young adult entrepreneurs in the area. There was only one daycare competitor in the area, that there were needs that other children had that that weren't being served. And so we wanted to be able to, I guess, kind of help those children in the area that weren't being served. And so he sat us down, he asked us our why, he asked us our why. And so that's something that I want to ask you guys on tonight. What is your why? When you think about your dream, and when you think about that thing that you have deep in your heart to do or to happen one day, what's your why? And so I want you to ask yourself these three questions. If my dream came true, who would it impact? Who would it impact? Will it impact your family? Will it impact your community? Will it impact your life in any way? How will it impact these people? How will it impact your children if your dream came true? If you were to go back and get your high school diploma, or to go back and get your college degree, how would that impact your family's life? If you were to write that book, how will that impact those who read it? What are you hoping that it will do? How will it change your life? How will it validate you? And how will it increase your worth and your self-esteem to know that this is something that you were able to make your dream reality? So how would this really impact yourself? Exactly. Okay, so chime in for me in the chat. Tell me, if you were to, whatever your dream is, if you were to fulfill that dream in your life, right? And so I have a couple of people chiming in. They said legacy. Exactly. Legacy. How are you going to, what do you want to leave your family with? If you have children and grandchildren, what type of legacy do you want to leave? You know, if you became an entrepreneur, how would it impact your life and your family's life for you to be able to work from home? And I'll share my why personally, for shifting from working a day job to now being my own boss, was because I wanted to support my family, and I felt that it was time for me to move closer to home, to be able to be there for family events, to be there to support my mom, who is supporting her mother, who is in the nursing home, to be there to support my brother, who has some issues that that a lot of people don't know about, but to be able to support him and to reestablish a relationship with him, to be able to take my father to doctor's appointments and help him get his health back on track. And so these were all very important reasons to me for being able to shift from dreamer to visionary. But that's just my family presently. I also had to think about my future family, meaning my children, my unborn children. How do I want to affect their lives, and how do I want to impact their lives? And so these are all things that really really helped push and drive the dream and making my dream a reality. These were the motivators that I needed to make my dream come true. And so, oh, definitely. So Donna says it would impact her family and other marriages. Awesome. And so when we think about our why, I really want you to think about, what motivators do you have already established that will help you push the need in order to make your dream come true. And so that was the second process. The second part of the process was the why. And so we had to share with the architects exactly why we were doing that. And so we had to sit down and we had to think about how that dream, and how, if it came into reality, how it would change our lives. And so that was part number 2. The third part of the process was writing the vision, right? And so basically the architect sat us down and he said, okay, so this is where you are. This is the building, right? You have the church, right? And so I now have a better idea of why you're doing this and what your dream is, and what the goal is, right? Because you really want to make this a pillar of the community. You want to stand out as, young entrepreneurs. And so I get it. And so he said, okay, so this is what I see, right? So he asked us, well, what do you see, first of all? And then I'm going to tell you what I see. And the thing about architects is, they really have to know codes, right? So building codes. And so anytime that an architect can come in and do a job, he first has to be knowledgeable of the type of building that you want to recreate or to create, right? So, and he has to be knowledgeable of all of the codes that are connected to that particular building. For example, we wanted a daycare, so therefore we had to have fire extinguishers. We had to have wiring a certain type of way. We had to have a sprinkler system. We had to have a playground area, and it had to be a certain square footage. We had to have a infant room, and it had to be a certain square footage, and it had to have certain elements in that room. We had to have a kitchen, and there were codes that were associated with the kitchen. And so in order for us to bring the vision of a daycare to pass, we had to work with someone who knew the codes, right? And so he had to have the ability to see the daycare before he saw the daycare, before the actual manifestation of the daycare. And so the vision is essentially, where do you see yourself, right? So we've talked about the assessment. I know where I am, excuse me, and I know what's going on with myself. I know where I am right now. And I know the outcome. I know that, essentially I want to be a freelance writer. I'm just using that as an example. I want to be a freelance writer. And that came up because I recently had a consultation with someone who wants to be a freelance writer. And so she says, you know what, this is what I want to do. Okay. I'm here. I'm not doing anything in freelance writing, but I know that's something I'm passionate about. I know that's something that I'm good at. So, but I'm working a job over here that has nothing to do with freelance writing. And it's a good job, but how do I get from here to freelance writing? And so I had to essentially take an opportunity to talk with her to help her see the vision or see herself as a freelance writer before she actually gets there. So I had to help her envision it. In your mind, you have to stop and see yourself before you see yourself. So these are the questions I want you to chime in on in the chat, right? So the vision, where do you want to go? I know where you are now, but where do you want to go? What's the outcome? The second question, what does life look like for you in 6 months, right? So I have to envision in the next 6 months, where do I want to be? Like, I want to be a freelance writer, but in the next 6 months, what steps am I going to take to get there? I'm going to research freelance writing. I'm going to hire a coach who can help me with getting there. I'm going to start writing again, right? I'm going to get back into the habit of writing again. Okay, so once you get into the 6 month part, where do you see yourself a year from now? Okay, and so I'm talking about it from the standpoint of freelance writing, but for the single people or the divorced people or the relationship people who are on the call, on the webinar tonight, if the outcome is marriage, and right now you're just getting out of divorce or a bad breakup, if the outcome and the goal is marriage, how do you get from I'm hurt, I just got out of a bad relationship, to marriage, finding my soulmate? How do we get there? Well, let's start off kind of slow. Like, we got to work on healing first, right? So in the first 6 months, I'm just going to work on me. I'm going to work on healing. I'm going to work on trying to forgive. I'm going to work on trying to get the lessons that I've learned out of that relationship. Right. And then after that, I'm going to maybe start dating again, or I'm going to do me dates, or whatever the case may be. How do you get from where you are now to where you want to be? But you got to be able to see yourself there. And if you can't see yourself married in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, then we got to figure out what the hangups are. What are the hangups? And so, all right. So someone's chimed in. Well, all right, write my next book. Right. So this is where I want to be, but I'm gonna write my next book. Okay. So we can break it down to the vision, and then how we get from there, from where you are now to where you want to be, which is the author of another book. I'm assuming you're saying write your next book, so you've already written a book. So how do you get there, right? And so, but I also want you to dream big on this as well. I also want you to dream big, because when the architect took us through that process, we really had to start seeing ourselves as business owners, even though we never owned a business before. And to be honest, we really did not have a lot of support at that time with the process. We didn't really have a lot of people who were knowledgeable about what it was that we were trying to do. And so we were really trying to figure things out. Fortunately for us, the architect had a lot of experience in starting daycares, but in that process, part of the process, he took us through the part of the process that was very important. It was the vision. You got to see yourselves as owners of a daycare, and if you're not fully aware of what that takes, then you got some work to do. So this part is so critical in your process of going from dreamer to visionary, because you really have to make sure that you have a clear vision and clear direction. All right. And so I want you to dream big on this one. And I want you to ask yourself, how would your lifestyle change? What does your lifestyle look like? Let's see. It says, writing my next book. Okay. So when you become an author of another book, what does that look like? What is that? How is that going to impact your lifestyle? What other opportunities might becoming a author of a book, another book, what would that do for you, for your lifestyle? So these are the things that I want to encourage you guys to really think about. Right. And so now that we have a clear vision and we're beginning to see ourselves before we see ourselves, now we need a plan. Okay. So here I am. I'm a wife and a mother, and I have a 4-year-old child, and I'm working for this company, and it's okay, but I really want to be my own boss, and I want to be a freelance writer, right? And so how do we get there? And that's essentially what the action plan is all about. And so just to go back to the architect and the experience that we had with the architect, basically what he did was he said he took all our ideas, after the consultation, and we told him what the vision was and what our why was and what we wanted. He took it back and he took it to his office. He sat down, and based off of his knowledge of codes and how we wanted things to look, he went and he created an action plan or a blueprint. And so he took it and he took our ideas and he took our vision and he basically put the vision in a plan, in a blueprint. And so we could take that blueprint and we could run with it, and we could go and hire a contractor who would begin to manifest and begin to build and begin to create the vision that we had basically designed, right? And so that this next part is basically the key to shifting from dreamer to visionary. You cannot shift from dreamer to visionary without a plan. You can't do it, right? Because if you remember at the front, at the beginning, we talked about dreamers. Dreamers, we are impractical, it's just, thoughts, right? Or intentions or ideas. But you don't become a visionary unless you have a plan, right? And so this part is key. Without a plan, you won't become a visionary. It won't happen. So you really have to take action. And in taking action, for me, it means productivity. Productivity means you're producing something, you're actively producing something. So you have to take action. And one of the ways that I've personally found, one of the things that I personally found that helps me to become more productive is when I implement my morning jump start routine. And I love my morning jump start routine. When I do my morning jumpstart routine, I feel extremely productive throughout my day. And because you're here on tonight and because you join me, I will share with you how you can get my morning jumpstart productivity plan. So stay tuned, stay with me. We're almost done with the webinar for tonight, but you got to have an action plan and you got to begin to work the plan. Okay. And so this is going to be very, very important part of the process. Once again, you can't be a visionary if you don't have an action plan, right? And so it was actually Nelson Mandela who said, action without vision is only passing time. Again, I'll read it again. I'll say it again. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is daydreaming. But vision with action can change the world. There it is again, right? Changing the world. Well, you may not want to change the world. Maybe you just want to change your home environment. Maybe you just want to change your community. Maybe you just want to change your family. Maybe you just want to change your work environment. But whatever it is that you have a desire to change, you have to have vision and you have to take action. Okay? And so, again, you can't become a visionary, cannot become a visionary without having a plan. Can't do it. All right. So how are we doing out there? You guys still with me? Guys still with me? What is let me ask you this question. What is your morning routine? What is your morning routine? What is it that you do that you feel helps you be most productive? Let's put that in the chat really quickly. What is it that you do that helps you become productive? Let me see what you guys are doing. Let me check you out while I take a sip of water. What do you guys do? All right. All right. So first 5 devotional, prayer time, affirmations. All right. Good deal. So these are things that are very resourceful and just being able to get your day started. And I definitely agree about the first 5 app. That's a part of my morning routine. Stretch, pray. I hear you. Good deal. Stretching is very important. It's very important to kind of get you going, get your energy going. Good deal. And another thing is affirmations. Affirmations and daily affirmations really help me because it gets me focused. It gets me in the right mindset to begin to work towards my goals for the day. Read the Bible, pray, exercise. Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. So these are great things to do to get your day started and to help you become more productive. And so that is awesome. All right. All right. So so it's buffering here. So I'm hoping you guys can still hear me. Put in the chat if you can still hear me, please. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Great. Okay. Awesome. So now let's talk about the final part of the process, right? So as I shared with you, the architect, he took us through a 5-step process, and he gave us an assessment. He asked us about our why, and what we were trying to accomplish and why we were trying to accomplish it. He asked us the vision and what vision we had, and he shared, we shared our vision for the business that we were starting. And he came back and he gave us a plan. He gave us a blueprint on how our vision looked on paper, right? And then we hired a contractor who came in, followed the blueprint. We had everything installed. Everything was great. But then the inspection part came. And the inspection part is probably, it's probably one of the most difficult parts of the process, because the inspection part simply means that we had to have the fire inspector, and we had to have the state come in to make sure that everything, all of our hard work and everything that we've done was meeting code, was meeting guidelines, right? And so that was difficult, but it's also really exciting because you want to know that you're working the plan, that you're doing the right thing, that you're on the right path. You want to know that everything is up to code, right? You want to know that you are meeting the guidelines. And the only way that you're going to know that is if someone comes in and they hold you accountable, right? They're holding you accountable to what it is that you say you want to do, and they're making sure that you're meeting the guidelines, that you are following the rules, and that you are in full alignment with what the state says and what the law says you should be doing in that business or with that business. And so for you, when you're shifting from dreamer to visionary, one of the things that I encourage you to do is to seek out a coach or a mentor or a consultant, someone who's been where you are, who knows where you're going, and who can help keep you accountable along the way. someone who can steer you in the right direction, who can say, no, you didn't meet the code. You're not meeting the guideline. You're not reaching your full potential in this. And so I want you to go back and I want you to rethink that, or I want you to do this in order to meet the guideline or to meet the expectation, right? And so coaching and mentoring and consultants, that's what they're designed to do. And so you really have to be open. You have to be open to the inspection part. You have to be open to this part of the process, because if you're not open to this part of the process and you put up a wall and you decide, hey, I'm just going to do it my way, I don't need anybody's help, you could potentially hold yourself back even longer. You could potentially find yourself stuck and your vision won't come to pass, because sometimes we can be too stubborn to say we need help, right? So what I really want to encourage you to do, and what we had to do, and if we were going to be business owners of a daycare, we had to go through that process. We had to have someone come in and say, you're approved. We had to have someone come in and say, this is exactly, are you guys still there? Because I'm seeing something on my end. How's it going? Still there? Just checking in. Great. So we have to go through the inspection process. We have to go through that. And we have to be willing to allow someone else to come in and help guide us and make sure that we are heading in the right direction. And so ultimately, yes, we ended up getting our state license and we were approved to open the business. And unfortunately, you know, our marriage didn't survive it, but it was through that process that I learned that I learned so much about myself and my abilities in that process. And I believe that it was because I went through that process and because I learned so much at that particular time that I was able to get to where I am now, right? So with that stated, let's just go over an overview. And I'm going to share again with you guys the process that we went through. Okay. And so you want to go through, you have the assessment. So this is the self-assessment. You really got to check yourself, and you got to be honest with yourself about where you are. And you also have to have an idea about where you want to be. Okay. And so the second part is the why. Right? You got to identify how and who the vision will impact. If I fulfill my dream, who will it impact? How will it impact them? And what lifestyle? How will it affect my lifestyle? What will my lifestyle look like? You know, how would this just impact my overall being and who I am? And then you got to go through and you got to write the vision. You got to create the vision. You got to be able to see yourself before you see yourself there. Then once you begin to see yourself there, you got to create a plan. You have to begin to write down the plan, and you have to walk it out, and you got to work it, right? You got to work the plan. And then finally, the inspection. And the inspection is all about making sure that you have someone who's going to hold you accountable, that you have someone who's there to push you through the process. Because sometimes we get to the end and we want to give up. We want to turn around and we say, oh, this is not going to happen for me. But it's helpful to have someone who's going to hold you accountable and who is going to help you get to where you want to be. All right. And so really quickly, I just want to assess the room, the chat room really quickly, and I want to ask you guys, where are you in this process, right? Where are you in the 5-step process? Are you at the self-assessment stage? Are you at developing your why? Are you in a place where you're creating your vision? Are you in a place where you need to create a plan? Are you in a place where you need to some accountability? Where are you in this 5-step process at this particular point? Let me see where you are. All right, all right, all right. All right. Need an action plan. Good deal. All right. Someone said, I think I'm at 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Donna says she's at 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. At least you know where you are. At least you know where you are. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So now I want to share an offer with you that I think will really help you shift. It will help you shift from dreamer to visionary. And this is an incredible offer. I'm excited about it because it is my Destiny Blueprint Intensive. It's my Destiny Blueprint Intensive. And I'm super excited about it because it's like my baby. It's my first offer as a solopreneur and as the owner of CBW Consulting. And this was my baby, and I really wanted to take an opportunity to create something that I felt would help women shift really take off and begin to build the momentum that is necessary to fulfill our dreams, because so many of us will procrastinate and we'll stay stuck and we'll remain in our comfort zones because it's comfortable, it feels good, right? So I really want to share this opportunity with you, this offer with you. So the Destiny Blueprint. So the Destiny Blueprint is a 3-hour power session that will help you transform from a dreamer to a visionary, right? And so it's a one-on-one individual power session. We'll do this via Zoom video conferencing from the comforts of your own home. It provides you with confidentiality. So it's just you and I, nobody else is around. You don't have to worry about anybody else hearing what you have to say. You have my full attention, and it is value driven. And so it's not just my values that I take into consideration, but it's also your values that I also take in consideration. And we sit down and we talk about, and I take you through the 5-step process that I just gave to you. And I help you with an assessment, help you understand what your why is. We identify what the vision is. I help you create an action plan, and I am there for you throughout the entire process to hold you accountable and to help steer you back on track when we get off track. Okay. And so it's a 3-hour intensive where I will help you identify which mindset you operate from. I help you identify self-defeating thoughts and develop affirmations. Now, this is the thing about it. Self-defeating thoughts. A lot of times we've already told ourselves why we can't. right? We've given ourselves so many explanations and excuses about why we can't. Well, I can't do it right now because I got kids, or I can't go back to school right now because I'm just not smart enough, or I don't have any typing skills, or no, I can't start that business because I'm not tech savvy. I don't understand the computer stuff, right? So we will talk ourselves out of it, and we will begin to tell ourselves that we can't, and that we're not worthy of certain levels of success. And so I really want to help you identify those mind blocks or those self-defeating thoughts that you experience, and help you develop affirmations that will redirect those thoughts. I also help you identify hangups and mind blocks, right, that hinder your growth. Because as a mindset architect, you're either I want to identify which mindset you operate from the most, right? There are two mindsets, either the fixed mindset or the growth mindset. And so, are you in a position now where you are operating from a fixed mindset that is telling you all the reasons why you can't? Or are you operating from a growth mindset that says, even though I have all of these obstacles that I'm facing, or all these challenges, I'm going to learn from those challenges, and I'm going to push through those challenges, and I'm going to continue to grow. Okay. So I help you identify which mindset you're operating from. And then I help you identify ways that you can continue to operate from a growth mindset. Right. And so we got to eliminate those mind blocks and those hindrances that keep us from growing. I also help you design what success looks like for you. Right. And so I help you identify what your own personal definition of success is. I'm going to go back to the relationship part, or the relationship piece, for those of us who have a desire to be married, right? At one particular point, I thought naively that a wife was supposed to help her husband fulfill his dream and sacrifice, even if that meant sacrificing her own. Right. So, number one, that's a no. But number two, I was creating my success based off of society's definition, or what I thought society definition of a wife should be. So what I really want to do in this intensive is I want to help you design success on your own terms. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks you should be doing. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks that you you shouldn't be doing at this point. It doesn't matter what anybody else's definition of success is for you. You are the one who designs your own definition of success. So I help you with that. And then last, we create an action plan that you can implement immediately for ultimate success. All right. So basically you get all of this. And so what's in it for you? What's in it for you? And I'm going to, I'm sorry, you guys. Glitch on my end. So what's in it for you? Number one, you get clarity on what when you operate from a fixed mindset, and how to shift to operating from a growth mindset. Number two, you are able to leave with a full strategy on how to redirect your self-defeating thoughts with affirmations. Number three, you receive your own destiny blueprint, which is designed with your own definition of success. And you will leave with an action plan that you can implement immediately for ultimate success. Ultimate success, right? So I am truly one who loves to reward good behavior. I am a social worker, a former social worker, and trainer. And so one of the things that I've learned is to reward people when they do great things, right? So bonuses that I want to give to you on tonight for just being here, for just being the beautiful people that you are, for showing up, for staying to the end. I want to give you my morning jumpstart productivity routine, right? And this just comes in a quick audio version of that. I'm going to give you that just for staying here tonight. I'm also going to give you my accountability partner checklist. There's a saying that says, show me who you're hanging with and who you have in your circle, and I'll show you your future. And so for me, having people in my life who are like-minded, who are values-driven, who are purpose-driven, who are who are walking and living out their purpose is incredibly important to me. And so I created a list of characteristics that you too should look for in accountability partners and people who can help push you and drive you to your purpose. And number 3, I'm going to give you my affirmation creed today, which I use most mornings to start my day. And I also give you some other resources and tools in those particular routine, in those bonuses that will be resourceful to you on your journey. Also, the bonuses for tonight are the Destiny Blueprint follow-up. Now, this is amazing because generally the follow-up is separate. It's something that I do only if you request it, right? But tonight, if you decide that you are going to take the leap and you're going to invest in yourself, and you decide that you're going to move forward in working with me on the Destiny Blueprint Intensive, you will receive the follow-up, a 30-minute follow-up and accountability session for free. This is my gift to you. So we take you through the action plan. You leave with an action plan, and then 2 to 4 weeks later, we'll do a follow-up just to make sure that you are working the plan. And so tonight, if you make an investment of $297, you will receive all of those goodies, which are valued at $845. You will receive all of those bonuses for free. So the intensive in itself is more than that. But tonight you will receive all of these bonuses, and you will receive my 3-hour power session, my Blueprint Intensive for $297. Okay, so I want you guys to hurry because seats are limited. I am only taking, and that should say 15 seats. I'm only taking 15 intensive clients right now because I really and truly value making sure that I am giving myself, I'm not spreading myself too thin, and then I'm making sure that I am in it, that I am working with you, and that you have my full attention. And I do not want to over exceed myself. All right, so I am only taking 15 intensive clients. Again, that price is $297, and I really want you guys to get in on this. Seats are limited. I already have several consultations booked and clients are getting in. Actually, to be honest, I only have 13 slots because I have 2 slots that have been recently taken. So I'm excited about this, and I really want you guys to take advantage of this opportunity. With that said, if you have any questions, I'm going to open it up for chat really quickly. So if you have any questions for me, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm going to answer your questions. If you have anything. Any questions for me? Any questions? Going once, going twice. I will say this. I'm offering this intensive, and the intensive will go away. It will go away on July 14th, which is next Saturday. I'm going to be doing 3 other live sessions in the next week or so. And so, so I want you to go ahead and book your spot. Book your spot. This price goes away. This offer goes away on July 14th at 11:49 p.m. It will go away. Okay. And so again, I'm doing several other live sessions. I'm only offering 15 slots. I only have 13 available at this point. So I really want you guys to get in on this price. It will go up to the regular price of $497, and the follow-up will go up to $197. So we're looking at roughly almost $700 for this intensive. So I really want you guys to get in on this now. Okay, get in on this now. The price will go up on July 14th. And so great. No questions. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you next time. Tell a friend. My next live webinar will be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Okay. God bless. Good night.